Hello, week 3 of Perseverance. This week we're talking about what's good. What's good? No, we're talking about like last week we talked about why we do it, but now we're talking about like the end result of perseverance, which is what's good. Like what we've been striving for, what we've been working towards, what we've been persevering for, that there's like light at the end of the tunnel, that there is hope, that it's worth it, that there's something out there that we can take hold of and that we can persevere for. Um, so today's verse comes from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So it's pretty short, pretty simple, but let's talk about it, right? If we keep doing what's good, right? If we keep working at it, it says in due season, which again means it might not happen right away. It might not happen as soon as we want, but there will be a time in due season we will reap, right? And now I know I grew up in Lakeside, and some of y'all don't know like farming terminology, maybe, right? But reaping is like you finally collect from all the work that you put in. So when you're farming, right, you have to prep the soil, you have to get the seeds, you have to till the land, you have to plant the seeds, you have to water, take care, make sure the pests don't get at the plants, make sure they get enough sun, make sure they don't get too much. Like all the work that goes into growing something, right? And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, right? You persevere, but you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because if you stop halfway through, you don't get like half a carrot or half a potato. You get nothing, right? You have to keep going all the way till the end, and then you can harvest, you can reap, you can get all the fruits of your labor, literally and figuratively, right? You get what you put in, right? And we keep doing the good. Now, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't know what it is about the last 2 weeks. It's weird because there's been more good news on the news and things opening up again and things getting closer. But maybe it's just the amount of time we've been doing this. But there have definitely been times where I've been ready to like give up, where that feeling of like, I just don't want to do this anymore has been like creeping in into my thoughts, into my being, right? It like weighs me down, that feeling more and more like I, I just don't want, like, it's another morning and of this, and I don't want to do it anymore. And so I get that feeling. I don't, basically, I'm sharing this because I don't want it to come across that, like, just saying, like, just keep going, right? Just keep doing the good. I know it's harder than that. And in those moments of like, I can't or I don't want to anymore, like to pull it together to like keep going and doing the good is feels like the hardest thing. Feels like the thing that's furthest away, right? But it's like one step at a time. We can't think about how much longer is left to go with how we're feeling right now because that can overwhelm you and that can be discouraging. But you can think, well, I can do this one more step. I can do this next step. I can do this next step, right? Like I've been on this big reading kick for like a little over a year now, but there are times where I'm like looking at the next book that I have on my list and it's like, whoa, this book's 800 pages. And that's overwhelming. And a part of me is like, I don't want to start that book. But just like any book, and I'm sure you feel this way with school assignments, if you've been doing them, do your schoolwork. Um, you just read one page and then you read the next page and then you read the next page and you don't worry about like how much is left. That will get there in due season. You just do the good in the moment now. You just do the one step at a time, right? Because at the end of the verse, it again encourages us that the good will come, so don't give up. The good will come, so don't give up. And that message is as much for me as it is for you. That in those times of like, I can't, or I don't want to, or this is too much, or this is too hard, the good will come. So don't give up, right? And we're starting to see signs of that, right? I've heard about how the governor's making negotiations for how schools are going to open up. And I've even heard that like California Adventure is going to start something in March. Like, it's crazy. It's actually happening, right? Like I don't know when it felt like it's just ever coming back. Maybe August, last August, it felt like, what is happening? When is the good? Well, it's coming. It's getting closer, right? It's getting closer. But again, now is like the time at the end. Don't give up. Keep doing the little bits of good. Keep doing the little bits of good, one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time, if that's what you can handle. But the good will come. So I'd be interested to know, what is the good that you're waiting for, that you're working towards, that you're persevering for? What is the good that's pushing you forward? And what are the times when you struggle the most to keep going? And what would be encouragement, right? To know that the good will come in due season. So don't give up. So that's it for perseverance. Keep going. The good is coming. Don't give up. Valentine's Day is this week. You may have thought, ooh, Valentine's Day is almost here, and we haven't talked about love. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he missed it. I never forget. This year, we're doing it the 2 weeks after Valentine's Day. So that'll be our next series. We'll talk about love. It won't be too bad this year. We'll get through it. But I just think it's so important to talk about. But that's next week. We'll wait for it. We'll persevere, and I'll see you next week. But until then, I hope you're doing well. I hope you keep going. The good is coming.